Hi, everybody. Welcome
Hello.
to Coach's Corner. All right. And guess what? It's a special Coach's Corner. It's always a special Coach's Corner here. This is the first one of 2026. Let's go. This is going to be so amazing. And what we have today is something very, very special. And I'm really excited. I'm glad, our synergy is amazing. If you noticed these past episodes and over a year of presenting different content to help you basically create whatever it is that you want or break through some barriers and just become the highest version of yourself. And speaking of that, today I'm just so overwhelmed and excited to share someone I've been reading for many years and studying, but I know each of us have something very special to share our perspectives and experiences with this amazing teacher, the legendary Neville Goddard. And today we're talking about Feeling is the Secret, one of my top 5 books that I just love very much. I'm sure we all have different versions of it. And wow, see Alicia, she's showing off there, because she has everything in the guy there.
I
But
have I have the collection.
yes, the collection. I know all about collections as well. But remember, it's not just knowledge, right? It's all about applying that knowledge and utilizing it to your best ability to create whatever it is that you want. Be more, do more, have more, happier life, whatever you want to create with this material. And that's why we're here today. That's why we show up all the time to help you. So my name is Jamel Matias. I'm a certified mindset success coach / business consultant and trained by the legend Bob Proctor, as well as my peers here as well. I'm the founder of Believe in the Unseen Consulting. Basically, that's believing in that goal, that dream, whatever it is that you desire. And we're actually going to be talking about creating dreams in your conscious mind today. And also, I work with individuals, entrepreneurs, business owners, businesses, just helping you reach a higher milestone and just really tapping into your abundance, which is unlimited. My purpose is to reveal, the hidden potential that's already within you and guide you to your truest desires. So I am in the Maryland area. I'm back home from traveling from holidays, and I pass it on to my awesome colleague, anticipation, Paul.
Thank you, Jamel, and good morning or good afternoon, wherever you're viewing this, whatever time you're viewing this. My name is Paul Wooters. I'm in Burlington, Ontario. I'm a success mindset coach, Proctor Gallagher consultant. I'm also the director of the Leadership and Development Department at the World Life Education Center here in Oakville. And I help individuals create their life by design rather than living by default, because transformation doesn't happen by accident. It happens with intention. And so I help individuals, athletes, business people, entrepreneurs. I help them reach their most elusive personal and professional goals. And I like to help people live, as I say, to their greatest possibilities. And I'm going to pass this over to my friend and colleague, Lou.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Jamel. Happy New Year to all of you. So my name is Lou Perica. I am a success mentor. And what I do is I guide women back to the truth of who they are. They're capable, they're powerful, and they are designed for more. And I help them do this by untying the mental mindset knots that keep them playing small so they can live, lead, and create from their highest identity. And the way I do that isn't by fixing anyone, but it's by helping them understand themselves more deeply and see how life actually works beneath the surface. And that's why I'm excited about today's this book, Feeling is the Secret, because it was the first metaphysical teachings that I was introduced to, and it had a profound impact on me on how I understand life, my mindset, and myself. So I'm really looking forward to this, to today's call. Alicia.
Thank you, Lou, and Happy New Year, everybody. And my name is Alisa Espinosa. I'm based in Sweden. I'm originally from Panama. And I help people to create a life that feels good on the inside, not just look good from the outside. And how I do that is helping people to align their lives with their values, with the deepest values that they have. I also help leaders to be a leader worth following.
All right. Thank you, Alicia. Thank you, Lou. Thank you, Paul. You know, I am overwhelmed with joy to share this. I am really overwhelmed. So if I get, this is the restraint here version because, I was really thinking how special it is to share this at the top of the year, right? There's nothing like the present moment. And you attracted us, you attracted this content, you attracted this very episode right now in your life to have a tremendous shift and awareness that you can create whatever it is that you want. And this is exactly what we're here to help you with. If you're watching live or you watch your replay or whatever, engage, put a comment in there and let us know how this resonates with you. How does it feel? Or any type of questions that you have, because we're here to help. And of course, to take it that next step, when you start feeling feeling is the secret. That's what we're talking about. That tells you that you're resonating on a vibrational level with this content. That tells you to contact one of us. We have our call links available in the description or the comments, and you know how to message us on whatever platform that you're watching this. I know we're on YouTube as well. Drop some comments there because we're really going to dive deep here on some very, very powerful knowledge and material. And it's not just knowledge, right? It's applying it, application and accountability, that'll help you hit higher levels in your life. So let's begin. What Neville talks about, he starts in this chapter, and I love how it's paced because, it's the law and its operation. And he kind of explains what consciousness is, right? The great I am. And he starts right at the top. My colleague Lou mentioned, even the first paragraph was full of this. Wow. You ever you're on a beach or something, the sun is shining on the beach. It's like all this warmth you can feel. And, that's what I feel throughout this book. So he says consciousness is the cause as well as the substance of the entire world. That's one sentence. So what he's saying is everything you see is consciousness in your world. And even things you don't see is consciousness in your world. So if you watch past episodes, we talked about the science of getting rich. And Wallace Wattles calls pretty much what Neville's saying is the formless substance or the intelligence, infinite intelligence, or the thinking stuff is what he was referring to. So here, Neville calls it consciousness, right? So it's the cause as well as the substance of the entire world. So it's the cause. The cause. That's the beginning of everything, right? So it is to consciousness that we must turn if we would discover the secret of creation. We must turn to consciousness. So that's why I put in the description, everything's created twice. Once in the unseen. Lou mentioned metaphysical, right? That's the unseen. And then now on the scene. Guess what we are? We are a part of that same consciousness. I have a strong belief of that. And we can really go down a lot of rabbit holes with this content. Hello, everybody. I see a lot of people live. And that just kicks it off. Who wants to have a stab at it?
I'll go. So this brings me to two quotes that we've always heard throughout our life is know thyself and the truth will set you free.
Mm.
And I used to think the truth will set you free as if, if I stole a piece of bubble gum or something and I didn't tell anyone, but if I just told someone, I'd feel much better. But this particular book, so I was introduced to Neville Goddard, and I think for most of us, the first book was The Power of Awareness, which was way over my head. But this was the second book, and it gave me a lot of clarity. What I love about just the title of this chapter, Law and Its Operation, period. Meaning it's law. This works the same for everyone. So when we start to delve into Neville Goddard's teachings, what it did for me was help me to know myself, and it set me free, meaning I wasn't a victim anymore. It set me free because I started to understand about consciousness and how my reality, my world, was my thoughts and emotions and beliefs objectified. So the law is always operating, just like the law of gravity. So I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to think about that. It's consistent and it's impartial. So it doesn't matter. It's not saying, oh, I like Paul better than Lou, or Jamel is better at this, or Alicia. Nope, it's impartial. It's the same for everyone. And this is what we've been trying to share with everyone over the past year. It's a system. So it doesn't judge, doesn't reward, or punish. It just really reflects. And it simply responds, and it's responding to our thoughts and beliefs, our feelings, what we're emotionally connected to. And this is what Neville gave clarity to me, and this helped set me free, that I was the creator of my own reality. So that, as Jamel mentioned, just the first sentence in this book, the world and all within it is man's conditioned consciousness objectified.
Mhm.
I remember when I first picked this book up, I had to pull up the dictionary and just break down each word so I could get a deeper understanding of what he was trying to say. But to simplify it, again, it's always operating, it's not judgmental, and it simply responds to our thoughts and our feelings and our behavior. So I wanted to share that. Paul?
Oh, thank you, Lou. Yeah, great points. And as Jamel said, there's just so much in this chapter. And I'll repeat what Lou said. You know, when I first picked up Neville's writings, I was like, wow. I mean, there's thin books, there's small chapters, but there's so much content. There's so much, you really have to dig deeply in it. And, you know, I've read this material before and I read it again. And each time I read it, I feel something else. I understand it at a little bit of a deeper level. And that's great, because it's not something that I didn't see before, but I'm seeing something in myself that I didn't see before. And so Neville Goddard is teaching us that life is created through this interaction of the conscious and the subconscious mind. And the one chooses and the other one executes. So, and when we understand their roles, then that's gives us a better understanding how our reality is formed, because the conscious mind is our thinking mind. It's the selector. It's the one that chooses, and its primary role is to choose, and its primary role is awareness and direction. So it's personal and it's selective. This is where in our conscious thinking mind is where we have those intellectual faculties. So we have reasoning and we have imagination. So it's where we rationalize and imagine things and reason things. And that's the part that chooses the thoughts and ideas and the assumptions and how we interpret things. That's what it does. And so it's like an analogy I like to use is think of when you're out in your garden, or the conscious mind is like the gardener. So it decides what seeds are you going to plant. So it chooses either new ideas or it's going to repeat old ones. And it's capable, as I said, because we have these higher faculties, it's capable of imagination and of attention. But Neville makes it really, really clear here that the conscious mind, it doesn't create results directly, but the power is in what it impresses upon our subconscious mind, and especially through feeling. Alicia.
Thank you. Yes. So you imagine that you are English-speaking people, and here is my third language, and I started to read that. I remember the first time I read that. I said, what they mean? What he's saying? I didn't understand the language. Not only the deep in that, but also the, so I also needed to, the dictionary to read. But even if I used the dictionary, I didn't understood that, because at that time, my awareness was lower with what I work, it was a totally new language for me. So, but after sometimes I started to understand, and this is what one of my, how I work with my client is that the outer world is a reflection of the inner world, and it's the what he wrote in this book that we are going to discuss now, and also that it is important to know that, only to and how I can put that, the secret. The secret were very, very, when it they launched the book, it was so revolutionary for many people, and they like it, but it also many like, but I've been reading The Secret many years and nothing happened. Yeah, because people think it's only with the thinking, but it's not that, because as Paul says before, that the conscious mind is giving the direction, and the subconscious mind is executing that direction. But it doesn't mean that because you say, for example, I am confident, that says the conscious mind. But the subconscious mind is feeling that, but you're not confident, then I need to expand more of that feeling. So, and many people think that it's just because you say the affirmations all the time, and they say, yeah, but I'm doing that 100 times and nothing happens. Yeah, nothing happened because in the subconscious mind, the feeling that you have is not aligned or congruent with what you are wishing. And that is what I learned about this in this book, that I need to align what I wish with my feelings, so that my subconscious mind can create the one thing that I want.
Oh, wow. This is so beautiful. I love talk. That was beautiful. I love, where is it? This is applause intense because this conversation can be intense. You mentioned law of attraction, and the film was called The Secret. And this book is called Feeling is the Secret. Do you see all the connections here? You know, feeling really is the secret. And I'm looking over a note here. He says, knowledge of the law of consciousness, knowledge of it, right? This is the knowledge you're receiving of the law of consciousness, and the method of operating this law will enable you to accomplish all you desire in life. So understanding this law, right? First, knowing it's there, right? That's first, right? And now you're getting an understanding of what this law is. And now a method of operating this law will enable you. You know how you can disable certain things on certain platforms or apps and stuff, notifications, you can disable, but you're enabling for yourself to create. And you can accomplish anything you desire with this knowledge. And I'm so glad you mentioned that, because we can do affirmations and positive thinking and stuff, but if the feeling isn't there, you're unaligned, you're out of harmony. And, you know, this was one of my challenges. You know, we get mentorship as well. Mentors get mentorship, you know, and that was one of my challenges. I would take certain actions without having the feeling of the vision already achieved. And without the feeling, it's funny because he goes into more depth about when you don't have the feeling of it, you're actually announcing that you're not. I will be, and we'll get to that. So he says consciousness is the one and only reality. Not figuratively, but actually. So consciousness is everything, right? And then he breaks it down. A stream. Think of a stream divided into two parts. And we mentioned it. It's the conscious and the subconscious. That's the stream of consciousness. There's two main parts, right? So the conscious, I like this. He says the conscious is the realm of effect. The subconscious is the realm of cause. How many people you know have that backwards, including myself, right? We think this thinking, intellectual, smart mind is the cause of everything. He flips its perception, right? It says the subconscious, what you feel is the cause. I missed that the first time. So what you feel is real, not what you see, and not your results right now. What you feel is real. And he says these two aspects are the male and female divisions of consciousness. And I remember, you know, being blown away because I never heard anyone say the subconscious as a female or unconscious as a male. So, and they also mentioned that the subconscious, you know, is kind of like the womb of creation. So it's a different way of looking at it or explaining it. And he says the conscious generates ideas and impresses these ideas on the subconscious. So this is why it's very important to know or be aware of your thoughts. If you're just walking around letting thoughts fly in and out of your head, especially negative thoughts, you're going to create more chaos. What does Bob say in the new Lead to Feel? You know, attitude, right? Good attitude, good results, right? Your attitude is a composite of your thoughts, feelings, and actions. Feeling is the secret. Feeling will always come after your thoughts. So what are you thinking? Right? So, and it's interesting because you can't think a negative thought and feel good, right? Or think a good thought and feel bad. Really think about that. Where's my laughter? Where's the laughter? So really think about that. You know, the conscious generates ideas and impresses these ideas on the subconscious. So what ideas are you focused on, right? The subconscious receives ideas and gives form and expression to them. So it can only accept. You're planting seeds, right? In that garden, that infinite garden of yours, and what is it that you want to grow. And I love how he explains that. I really do. And you know what I just thought about? You know, the sound effects is kind of like my props compared to Alicia's props. So, you know, maybe I'll find something else hilarious. Well, everybody's humor is different. But yeah, you know, conscious and subconscious. When he said, you know, conscious is the effect, that is so powerful. And subconscious is the cause. That is amazing. So anybody want to dive in a bit there? You know, I can go on and on. What expression is that?
And this is my prop. This is the prop. And I'm surprised, Jamel, you didn't introduce it.
I just let it sit there so people can, yeah.
So this is where Neville introduces, as Paul mentioned, the conscious and the subconscious mind. And I just want to go over this briefly to give you some clarity, because I believe I can speak for the whole panel here. It was this little silly looking figure that brought so much clarity to us. So we're just going to have this represent the mind, the top half. So many times you'll see us do this, and we're referring to the conscious and subconscious. So since the mind is invisible, no one's ever seen it, this image brings clarity. So I just want to explain quickly what the two different parts of the mind actually do, the different aspects. So the top half is the conscious mind. As Paul mentioned, it is the thinking mind. This is where we make choices. We can accept or reject ideas. And it's also the part of the mind that makes decisions. So the subconscious mind is the emotional mind. That's why I have a heart there. And then there's also a heart in the body. It cannot and does not analyze or reason. It must accept anything that the conscious mind impregnates or plants here. It must accept as truth, and then expresses those impressions as habits, behaviors, and results through our actions. So another way to think of it is sometimes we have these set goals and we just don't know why we can't achieve them or whatnot. We feel stuck. We feel that we're broken, yada, yada, yada. I want you to think of the thinking mind as the dream, as the goal setter. But the subconscious mind is the goal achiever, because this is where our habits and beliefs are. And you'll notice that it's the emotional part of the mind. And this is what makes our body take action. It expresses itself through the body. You can also think of this part as the architect. It's the one that builds the dreams, builds the designs, the hotels and the bridges or whatever it may be. But this is the architect. This is where our habits and beliefs are. So when you start to understand the two different parts of the mind and what each one does, this is what freedom is. Oh, it's not me. It's just the way I've been thinking or the things that I believe that are true. And that's what we're experiencing. Every now and then, I'll hear someone say, well, welcome to the real world, or that's not reality, or whatever, something along those lines. And what you'll start to really understand is that person who may be saying it has a different reality, is experiencing life differently from the person, whoever they're speaking about. So let's say, we'll just take two categories. Let's just say the rich and the poor, just trying to keep it simple. They both think, feel, behave differently. So both are experiencing different things and they have different realities, but neither one is right or wrong. It's just what they are experiencing. So this is what we're sharing, and this is what Neville is trying to explain to us and teach us. It's that this selects the ideas, this receives and expresses it, because the subconscious mind does not respond to logic and willpower. It responds to what feels true. And that's why I love my particular stick person, because it shows the heart here and the heart in the body, meaning to feel. And experiences and emotions live in the body, right? And it influences our thoughts and our behaviors. So when you feel something or something's not right or you're feeling stuck, you're feeling it in the body. Remember, we talk about spirit, mind, body, but the mind and the body are the tools for the spirit to experience itself. And we have a mind to make choices and decisions, and then the body can experience it. And then these little guys are our five senses. So depending on what we're experiencing in life, we're going to see, hear, taste, touch, or smell those experiences. And this is what can cause us to continue to have the same thoughts over and over and over. And this is what Neville is trying to share with us, is that we can choose a new thought. We can choose to have new experiences, but you can't just build the dream here. The architect must give the plans to the subconscious, and the subconscious must really feel those plans to be true in order for the body to take action. Whew. Did I do that in a short? Paul, you're up.
Yeah, I'm going to give you applause. I don't have the button.
Thank you.
But that's so good. And something that Jamel said ties in so well. People talk about affirmations and positive thinking. And I had a discussion with someone the other day, and they're saying, I'm really frustrated and angry. Like, you talk about positive, thinking, all this positive thinking and affirmations, but they're not working. Look at what my life is. Look at the situation I have. Look at the situation I'm in. How can I think anything positive? And so what Lou is saying is so true. I mean, you can say something, or what Jamel was saying, you can have affirmations, you can repeat words, but if you don't believe it, they're just meaningless words. You can't just read something or write something down and repeat it if you're not really believing it. You can say one thing, but you don't really believe it, it's not going to manifest. So you have to believe it. So we're going to get into a lot of these things later on, but living from the end, living from the result that you want, and being there. And that's, you're difficult, right? You look at your bank account balance, or you look at this, or you look at the situation, or you look at the car you're driving, or whatever it is, or you look at your job, and maybe you're not happy in your job. And so, like, what it is you're thinking, and to be really aware of what it is. So your feeling is telling you what you're thinking. So this is when you have to pause and think. And okay, so I'm feeling this. What is it that I'm thinking? And so just to go back to, like the conscious mind isn't creating anything, but it's impressing upon the subconscious. But it's doing it through your feeling. What is it that you really believe? You can say one thing, but if you're feeling anxiety, they're going to clash, and it's what you're feeling that's going to come out. So the subconscious mind is the creator. So, and its role is to express and to execute and to manifest what it is that you're believing. So the subconscious mind, it's impersonal and non-selective. So whatever you impress upon the subconscious mind, it has to accept. It's non-judgmental. So if you're thinking fear and lack, that's what you're going to see in your life. And it's so the subconscious mind is entirely obedient to what it is it's receiving. It has to accept. It accepts as true when it's felt. It doesn't distinguish between real and imagined. So it automatically expresses the beliefs right, that you have, and those beliefs will be manifested as conditions and the behaviors and the results that you see. It says yes, the subconscious mind says yes to whatever it is that you're giving it, and it doesn't analyze those things, right? That's where, you know, you're analyzing things in your conscious thinking mind. You know, that's where you have the argument and the voices going back and forth. But the subconscious, it doesn't argue, it just simply acts out on your dominant feeling, and that's the bridge. That's the bridge between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind, is feeling. Alicia.
Yeah, you know, I saw the mountains that you have behind you in your, and it got my thinking about the iceberg, you know, that you see only a little bit, and then, but the biggest thing is below the surface. And that reminds me about the subconscious and the conscious mind, because the conscious mind, you see, is like a tiny part of the mind that create a lot consciously, but it's the subconscious mind that beneath that is creating everything. And also it got my think that the feeling that you are feeling at the moment, the state you are, is what is going to direct the results. And for example, go to the store and buy something, and you say to yourself, oh, I'm going to buy just this and this and this. But if you state this, that you are hungry, or you are angry, or you are lonely, or you feel tired, what happened? You will come with other things, even if you consciously decided not to buy anything else, because in the state you are will direct the results, what your behavior, and it will, you know, and this is the same that the subconscious mind. So, and also got in my mind an elephant, and you as a rider, you know. So the conscious mind, you are the rider, but the subconscious mind is the elephant. And try to steer the elephant. Just the elephant will take care of everything if you are not good at and directing the elephant in the right way that what you want. And also got me thinking the tree or the flower, or what is the plant that Lou has behind. It's got me thinking about what most people does is that, you know, they have a tree at home, and maybe the tree is apple, but they want to have, I don't know, peach or something else. And they are frustrating about that they are getting apple instead of peach. But they don't think that when they planted the seed, it wasn't apple, it was peach, or it was peach, or something like that. You know, if you have apple and you want to have the peach, you cannot put in the soil the apple. You need to plant the seed of the peach. And they get frustrated. They don't like it. The fruits also, if they planted apple and they get apple, but the apples that are not so good, they get frustrated about the apples, that they think that is the fruits that are the problem, but is beneath the surface that is the problem, the roots of the tree. So you need to go down and fix that in order to get the fruits that you want. But people stay more frustrated, creating more of bad apples instead of taking care of the roots.
Oh wow! Can I do it? Can I do it? This is all so good, you know. And Alicia, you triggered a thought about law of assumption, you know, and this ties in with consciousness, right? Remember Neville sharing, he said, you know, if nature were to speak, the tree would say, I am a tree. I am a fruitful tree. I am an apple tree. Or I am a peach tree. So the concept of oneself, whatever you define yourself to be with that consciousness, so shall you be. And this is exactly what we're talking about, where you're creating these ideas, these concepts of yourself in your conscious mind and impressing it in your subconscious. You're feeling it. And that's what Neville shares here. Feeling is the secret. So without this sequence, without getting an idea who you want to become or what you want to achieve, be, do, or have this year, without this sequence, there's not anything made that is made. Really think about that. And we're creating without even knowing that, right? We're creating unconsciously sometimes. I didn't have this knowledge my whole life, but now I have it. And now I use it every day. I know the power of thinking now. And you know, Bob said, I remember him saying that thinking stuff, that thinking stuff is extremely powerful. It creates your entire reality. My mind is a divine center of operation, divine center of operation. So you're creating your own life, your own reality. You're the star of your own movie. Nothing outside of you is creating it, but you're creating it yourself. So he says the subconscious does not originate ideas, like we mentioned, right? But it accepts as true those which the conscious mind feels to be true. So I don't know if anyone else has it on them, but I have a goal card. This is what I feel to be true, even though it hasn't caught up to me in the physical world. So this is something, you know, that our mentor, Bob Proctor, taught us. And this connects exactly to all these teachers, right? We read it. We read it over and over and over again. We feel it, right? There we go. We all have our goal cards. And why do we carry this? I carry this everywhere. Sometimes, you know, I even sleep with it in my bed. I put it under my pillow. You know, it's always very close to me. And what am I doing? I'm creating the idea in my conscious mind, and I'm getting emotionally involved with it in my subconscious mind. Remember, that's the feeling part of your mind, right? And a lot of us think the mind is just the brain, right? Most people do. It's okay. Mind is actually movement. It's activity. So this is very important to understand. So he says, through our power to imagine and feel and our freedom to choose the idea we entertain, we have control over creation. So we're creating our life. That is massive. Through our power to imagine. The only thing that you can use to take you out of your present state, whatever money you have in your account, you can always have more. Whatever material things you have, whatever lifestyle you have, whatever you're doing in your life, you can have more. So the only way to get you out of your current circumstances is utilizing the imagination. And guess what? We all have it. Some of us is just underdeveloped, you know, and we've been given that gift since birth. So you can imagine the life you want. Imagine this year that you want. Imagine the goals that you want professionally and in your personal life as well. So we have the freedom to choose. No one's choosing your thoughts. You can accept or reject any thoughts right here in every moment of your life. So don't let outside circumstances or conditions or other people dictate what you choose to think. That is your power and your gift as long as you're here. So you can choose the idea we entertain, and we have control over creation. So control of the subconscious is accomplished through control of your ideas and feelings, right? Ideas are impressed on the subconscious through the medium of feeling. It's not just thinking about it, right? No idea can be impressed on a subconscious until it is felt. But once felt, be it good, bad, or indifferent, it must be expressed. So that's why feeling is the secret. Because what you're feeling, it even tells you the vibrational state your body's in. Your molecules start moving around a certain way. You know, I get excited when I talk about this and passionate, as we all do, because we understand it at a higher level now with our awareness, but we're using it with an understanding, great, right? But when you use it and you start, you're happier, you see the results in your life and what's happening. You know, it's amazing to see the manifestation when you understand this and utilize it. So whatever it is that you're putting here, be it good, bad, or indifferent, it must be expressed. And the subconscious is always there to receive and give you what you create. I'll stop there.
I wanted to, so thank you to all of you guys. You've triggered something for me to think about. I'm going to go just off-roading just for a little bit because Alicia mentioned an elephant. And when I heard that, I said, oh my gosh, I used to use that as an example. So I just wanted to share that quickly, is that I want you to think of an elephant. It's just a mighty, beautiful animal. And that animal, when it's allowed to live in its own natural environment, knows what to do. Everything that it needs to live, to thrive, to reproduce is already been installed, if you will, into the elephant. But I want you to think of an elephant now that's been held and captive, right? So they're training the elephant for whatever purpose. So when that elephant is born, they put a chain on his leg. And on that chain, it is grounded into the ground with cement. So that elephant cannot move, and it tries and it tries and it tries. But eventually, it stops trying. It gives up. It becomes submissive. And so once that elephant now, the new belief that it can only go so far, now the trainer doesn't need to put that stake into cement. It can just put a stake into the grass. And that elephant will only go as far as that chain. So the reason I wanted to share that is because each one of us are magnificent. But through the conditioning of whatever we've experienced through our environment, through conversations, et cetera, has limited us. And this is what Neville is trying to share with us. You are magnificent. You are a creator. And just think that that elephant, even in its own natural environment and as magnificent as it is still can only be an elephant. But you and I, and Jamel brought this up, the I am. I am is a verb. And I am just is. It just, there's nothing until you put something after it. It's just kind of like I am what? I am what? It's just kind of hanging there. I am. So it's undefined, it's unshaped until you put something after it. I am sad. I am frustrated. I am happy. I am love. Whatever it is that follows I am, you've now defined it and shaped it. and then you start to experience it. That's where I am that I am. So remember, before you say I am, and this is where it's not necessarily easy, but to start to become more mindful of what follows I am, because you are creating. I am, fill in the blank. You are now creating. But as we're saying also with Neville, until you can say it 1,000 times, I am rich, I am this, and I am that. But until you feel, until the subconscious feels that it is true, this is truth, we really do believe it, then it's just going to be words, because words really don't have any meaning. It's what we believe the meaning is. So let's say you use the word hate. It's just what, a 4-letter word, right? It's just 4 letters. Hate, 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 hate. But what we've been trained is the emotion behind the word. Because it's just a word. It's just 4 letters. But we've been trained to believe like hate, and that word has a strong emotion connected to it. So the universe doesn't respond to words, it's the emotion, the feeling behind the word. So whether you speak English, Greek, Swedish, Spanish, it doesn't matter. They're just words, but it's the emotion behind the words that the universe responds to, that vibration. So to be mindful of what we're saying, I think last week we spoke being hung by the tongue, being mindful of what you're saying, but the emotion and the intention behind what you're saying. So be mindful about I am. And remember that you are a very powerful creator. And that's what we're here to share today.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's so good. I could go in so many different directions here. And I love the analogy of the elephant, because years and years ago, I took a trip through India. I was backpacking through India, and we were at this national park where we went elephant back riding and observing tigers and wildlife and things like that in nature. And it's so true, right? I mean, here's these big, powerful elephants, and they just had a little rope around its leg. Like, if I'm thinking, well, that elephant could break through that easily. But as Lou said, it was trained from birth. It couldn't get out. And then so later on, it didn't even try. So great analogy there. Now, so looking at, what's the centerpiece of this chapter is that your thought alone isn't enough. It's the feeling. Feeling is the language that the subconscious mind understands. A thought is felt as real, or a thought, when it is felt as real, that becomes the assumption. And the assumption then becomes your belief, and the belief becomes your lived experience. And so that's why Neville is saying here that, your feeling is the secret. And how the law operates is the subconscious mind chooses an idea, right? You choose an idea with your conscious thinking mind. And now you have to feel that it's true or not true. And the subconscious mind just accepts that as fact. And so then your life recognizes to reflect that thought, right? And that's going to happen. The law is neutral. That's going to happen whether your feeling is confidence or your feeling is doubt, or whether your feeling is I'm worthy or there's lack, calm or anxiety. So it's just completely neutral. And so most people allow the present circumstances to dictate their feelings. And that's what we do with our mentorship, right? You have to learn to think from the inside out. But when you allow the outside circumstances to dictate what you're feeling, then that's going to reinforce the same subconscious impressions. and then you're going to get the same results. And then you get this loop, your conditions, your feelings, you reinforce those beliefs, and then you get the same conditions. And to break that loop, that's going to require conscious choice of feeling, and that's which are completely independent of appearances. So you have to, pause and think sometimes, what do I choose to assume? And when you think that, then subconscious mind is going to go, okay, so be it. That it's just going to give you that result. So you have to really be aware. So the awareness is really, really important. So when you're feeling, what you're feeling, that's the clue. What are you feeling? Stop and think, okay, why am I feeling this? And go back to see what it is you're thinking. Alicia.
Yeah, thank you. I was thinking about a GPS, of the car. So assume that I live in the north of Sweden. So I assume that I want to drive to Stockholm and never drive there. And then I say, okay, I'm going to Stockholm. And because I don't know, maybe I will, drive in wrong direction and so. But if I put in GPS, the GPS are going to give me a feedback according to the coordinates that Stockholm is the location of Stockholm, yeah? And here is also the subconscious mind is our GPS. I put here that it follows our current emotional coordinates. So it's not the spoken coordinates, the spoken location, but it's the coordinates that that we are in, the emotional coordination that we have. And it's the same, with everything. If you say, oh, I am so fantastic, but in your coordinates, the emotional coordinate is that I'm not good enough, then the subconscious mind will follow I am not good enough, because it will regulate like, okay, is that I am fantastic is the state that I normally have? No. Oh, I need to create more of the emotion I'm not good enough. So it's always thinking about the emotional coordination coordinates that we have. So because the conscious is selective, actually, you can say whatever you want consciously, but still the subconscious mind will just execute what you really, really believe. And we talk in this when we discussed the lesson in thinking into results about the integration of beliefs and behavior. Because if you don't believe what you have, what you say, the behavior will be another, not what you want to do, but what you believe to be. And it's very important, like, who do you want to be when you work? I think that this was what I wanted. Yeah, you say about when you discuss, Lou, about the elephant, it have been many different researchers. I know that it's a research that they did with a fish that eats smaller fish, and they have in a big, I don't know, container or something like that, and this big fish eat this small fish, and then they put a wall to that, and the big fish was like, trying to go to the smallest fishes, but they could not. And then what they did was that they took away this the wall, and the big fish was like no eating the smaller fish. And so that is what we learn all the time, the subconscious mind. And I think that we need to be careful what we are teaching the subconscious mind, because if we are, you talk about the word that it has no meaning, and it's very important to know what we are saying to us repetitively. When you repeat all the time and you put some feelings on that, and you say, oh, I am so bad, and you put a feeling on that, then you are bullying yourself, and at the end, the subconscious mind will believe that you are not good, and then you start to bullying yourself unconsciously. So it's very, very important to think about the word that we use all the time, and especially the feelings that we put on those words.
Yes, I love it. This has been amazing session, as I expected. There's so much value here, and don't let it go to waste. Don't let it just be inspiration or motivation for your new year. Contact us today. Let's talk about your next step. Basically taking that one small step towards what you really want and applying this knowledge. Knowing is not enough. This is just, Alicia mentioned the iceberg. This is the tip of the iceberg, right? And you can go a lot deeper in your gifts that you have with this material. So just a few things to mention before we, end this session. The person who does not control their feelings may easily impress the subconscious with undesirable states. So be mindful of your feelings, right? I would tell my clients, check in with yourself. How am I feeling right now? How do I feel right now? And that'll tell you. Even stopping to ask that question, your body, your intellectual mind automatically wants to answer. And I check in with myself constantly because I know the power of vibration and attitude. And not meant to suppress feelings, but rather the disciplining of self to imagine and entertain only such feelings as contribute to your happiness. So what he means by that is think as many positive thoughts as you can every day. It's that simple. And when you start feeling bad, that. But sometimes we're just kind of unconscious to it. This is raising your awareness of yourself. So if you're not aware of how you feel, you're creating things that you don't want. And you're creating the year in the future that you don't want. So it's a happiness button, right? Fill yourself up with gratitude. We talked about gratitude. That's a big one. I'm always grateful to share this material. I'm grateful to read. I'm grateful to meet new people. I'm grateful to see people's lives changing with this material. I'm grateful to hear my clients just message me, hey, Jamel, I just did this. Because they're changing. And as the inside changes, the outside changes. It's amazing. It really is. And we're a part of these laws. You're not separate from that. You're not separate from me. All of us are part of these laws. So never entertaining undesirable feeling. He says that there. Never entertain an undesirable feeling. What does that mean? It's basically what you don't desire. So if you're in a bad place and you're feeling bad every day, you're disintegrating. You have to change. And it starts with your thinking. But, it's challenging to do it on your own. That's why mentorship is very important, because it takes you out of your environment and you're working with someone that's doing it. And you're in a happier, more positive, effective environment. You're not in a dark place anymore. And do not dwell on the imperfection of yourself or others. This was big. Do not dwell on the imperfection of yourself or others. So if you're downing yourself, we mentioned that, you're creating what you don't want. That's the worst thing to do. And I was victim to that. I was like, I'm not producing these results fast enough. I'm not working hard enough. And what you're doing, you're putting that energy into something you don't want over and over. And he says to do so is to impress the subconscious with these limitations. So you're impressing the subconscious with the negative side of thinking. You don't want to do that. That's a dark road to take. You don't want to do that. And he says, I am healthy is a stronger feeling. This is what we're talking about, the power of words. I am healthy is a stronger feeling than I will be healthy. To feel I will be is to confess I am not. I am is stronger than I am not. So really let that sink home. Don't say, oh, I'll try. I will one day. I hope so. See, you're defining that you're not, and that's doubt, and that's fear. I am is stronger than I am not. So what you feel, you are always dominates what you feel you are, always dominates what you feel you would be, you would like to be. So think about that. What you feel you are. What do you feel you are? This is a different way of thinking, inside out. It always dominates what you feel you would like to be. Therefore, to be realized, the wish must be felt as a state that is rather than a state that is not. Sensation precedes manifestation. I love it. So you have to feel it. You have to feel it, before you create, before you manifest it. It's the other way around. And lastly, he mentions, be careful of your moods and feelings, for there is an unbroken connection between your feelings and your visible world. Unbroken connection. That's why I was saying there's no separation there from your feelings and what you're creating. Your body is an emotional filter and bears the unmistakable marks of your prevalent emotions. Then he talks about emotional disturbances, especially suppressed emotions. This is where you're suppressing negative things, are the cause of all diseases. That's huge. We can get into that the next session because we had to break this chapter up a little bit. But, that's suppression is especially negative suppression. It's anger turned inwards, right? That's depression. And in the body, it starts gaining disease because of these thoughts. Our thoughts are more powerful than you believe or understand. And that was the tip of the iceberg for today. So, what an amazing session. I want to thank my for letting me express those last couple notes there, and for all the beautiful knowledge we always share, and looking forward to an amazing year, tapping into some more powerful material. But don't let it just be knowledge. Please use this material. I want the best for everyone that tunes in, and those that don't tune in. You attracted this message. There's no accidents. You're part of these laws, and your spirit wants to grow. You want to have more. You want to do more, be more, have more. So anyway, let's get out of here. I can talk. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yeah.